mostly it is not necessary to say anything harsh to that person. At the most you can tell the mistakes that they are committing. But that too in such a soft manner that a person doesn't get any shock out of that. All these thing of attachments also. Now somebody has too much attachment, say for the family, for the wife, for the husband, children or something. And once they come to Sahaja, still they have same amount of attachment. All right, doesn't matter. But how far they will go with that attachment, how long it will continue is the point. You should be detached. If I say you cannot be, it's a state. It's a state of mind when you are detached. But when it comes to doing something for them, you will go all out to help them. But you are not an attached person. Now, what is the description of an attached person? Attached person is always worried about the other person. Goes on thinking about the other person. Cannot think of Sahaja Yoga. Only think of the people with whom he is attached. Then he is very sensitive. You can't say anything to his brother, sister or anyone, otherwise he jumps. Attachment is also with the name that he has. Supposing he has achieved a certain name, supposing, or some big position, then what does he do? You can't challenge him anyway. You cannot by any words you can challenge him. Because he is so identified with that. He thinks he is a big person who has achieved such a lot of positions in life. He is so much attached that he wants the Guru to pay respect to that attachment. Now, which is the way you can solve that problem? Supposing somebody is very much attached to his wife, say for example, then you should not discuss and argue with that person, not at all. Because he is still coming up slowly up to this stage. Such a person is not absolutely a perfect Sahaja Yogi. So what do you have to do? If he is attached to his wife, let it be. But the divine will work it out. And he will realize that what he has been thinking, doing and taking decisions is all wrong. And once he discovered it himself, then he will get detached. But if you go on telling him anything and try to argue it out, it will never work out. So you must understand that as human beings, whatever we were, also as Sahaja Yogis, we have problems. And these should be slowly should be dissolved. Not by argument, not by saying things, but by love and compassion. If you have love for a person, you will be amazed, 99% people value love. This is the third quality of human beings, I should say. First is his inheritance, second is he thinks, and thirdly that he values love. Anybody who loves, the another person values that love. Because he thinks that this particular person is loving me not my wealth, not my beauty, not my this thing, but he's loving me. And this idea of love, this is something that will get him completely detached from that person easily. How? It looks very funny that if you like somebody, if you love somebody, and then you should get detached. It's only possible in Sahaja Yoga. In Sahaja Yoga, your state of mind is such that you are absolutely detached and absolutely attached. Now, for example, now, say I have my daughter. So, I'm detached. I never telephone to her, I'm never bothered about her. Because in Sahaja Yoga, you know how is that person. If the vibrations are right, why should you telephone? Why should you talk to her? Why should you ask for anything? No need. Only on vibrations you will know how the person is. And so it will seem that you are absolutely detached. But when you will find the vibrations are showing or are indicating something serious about that person, what you will do, you will put full attention to that. Full attention. You put attention, but not attachment. So the attachment doesn't solve the problem. What solves the problem is attention. But when you are not detached, then your attention is attached attention. It's an attention that is not available to everyone, an attention that gets stuck, absolutely stuck into that person with whom you are identified. Try to understand. So to be identified with someone is not actually what we can say paying attention to that person. And then your attention will work. If you are of that level, whenever you put attention to that particular person who needs your attention, it will work. But if you are all the time wasting your attention on a person because you are attached to that person, your attention will be tired. It won't work out. It's a big, I should say, a paradox. That if you are attached to someone, then your attention doesn't work. And if you are not attached to that person, you do everything else. Now you have to give lecture all the time, give lecture. Then I have to do some cooking, I'll do cooking, this, that, and that. Well, all the time if you are thinking about that person, all the time you want to have connection with that person, it's not necessary. That person is all right. What is there to be so much worried about that person? After all, you have to do Sahaja Yoga, you have to do so many things, you have to raise Kundalini, you have so many. Now you are getting attached to one person somewhere. It's not a very good thing. By that kind of attachment, your attention also becomes useless, absolutely useless. So let the attention be free. Attention should not be bound by your attachments. Attention should be absolutely free. So it works automatically. Automatically. And you will be amazed, even if you do not pay attention, the attention will work it. It is such a great thing to have this spiritual attention, which is nothing but love. It will just act. You will be amazed how it acts. It's another world I'm talking about, not this mundane world, but something higher, where your attention works. and works so beautifully that you are amazed how it has worked. But you should not bound it by your attachments. If it is bound, you can have a very limited sphere. Only the people who are attached to you, or you are attached to those persons. That's why identification is not the way a guru should work it out. Now, there are 10 disciples and one guru. And the guru likes only one. He thinks this is the best and he should be encouraged and should be given all the possible help. But that's not going to help. What on the contrary should say, it is already good fellow. He has risen very high, he has gone very deep. So pay attention to those who are not so good. And talk to them about it, that you have to come up in a very sweet manner. You have to talk to these other people who are not yet there or who are still struggling. You have to understand them. You have to notice what are they doing, why is it they are not improving or rising in their attention. What is the problem? Why the divine is not flowing through them? And you will find the reason for this is that people do not have good attention is because it is focused on someone all the time. They feel this is their responsibility, that it should be focused. It's just to give it's an explanation, it's just an explanation to say that, see, naturally I have to be worried about this, I'm worried about that. It's just an explanation. But if you really don't fix your attention to one person or 10 persons only, then your attention looks after the whole world. It receives all the information and also it gives all the information what is to be done to correct the situation. So one has to rise into that state where you do not get angry, annoyed, upset. No, not at all. What happens to you? That you see a situation and in that you are not involved. You see the situation and you are away from it. Then you can solve that problem better. But if you are part and parcel of that problem, then you cannot solve. It's like this, I was telling, that those who are fighting, say, cannot solve the problem. But a person who is not fighting can solve the problem. So it's a very simple thing to understand that if you are identified, if you are involved with one person or with one kind of a thing, then you are lost. So our attention has to be always free and can be applied widely, wherever needed. That is the state one has to reach. If you reach that state of mind, it's not I'm saying you can do anything about it, it's just a state of mind. Now, how do we do that? Only through introspection. Through introspection, you will understand that you need help to solve your problems. Firstly, the problem is how to face yourself. because you are a little bit shy or maybe nervous about it. As the time comes, you'll be amazed that this nervousness has no meaning at all. When you try to be deliberate about it, then it won't work out. But if you are sahaj, it will work out. So we come to the second point, apart from the attention, that we should leave everything into the hands of Param Chaitanya. Let the Param Chaitanya solve the problem. This is the problem, let Param Chaitanya solve the problem. We are not bothered. So a detachment comes in. You give the whole thing to Param Chaitanya to solve. So you are not in it, you are away from it. Very, very simple things are there. That if you understand that we suffer because everybody feels responsible for us. Everybody thinks they are responsible, they have to do this responsibility for us. Somebody says, this responsibility he has to do. All these things are worrying them. And that is the reason today we have a very complex society. They are suffering from all kinds of diseases in which only thinking is responsible. By this thinking all the time, thinking about one person, thinking about one problem, you reach nowhere. At that moment, what you have to do is to leave it to the Param Chaitanya. If it goes to the Param Chaitanya, it will manage.